It's been a minute since I reacted to this channel, and I love this channel. Shout out to CZ's World, but I was introduced to it a while ago when explaining more about Art the Clown from Terrifier. His breakdown was actually was it his? Yeah, I believe it was his video his video was the first I saw to be introduced to the world of Terrifier. And in this one, he's actually talking about it again, but it's a little different. This one's not about his story arc leading to the third one. This one is how Art the Clown became a horror icon. And I would love to know why, but I said this before in my Terrifier 3 review that he's up there now. He's up there. Art the Clown's up there with Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, all of them. He is one of them dudes. And shout out to the creator because he made his own. He didn't copy off of nobody. He did his own thing and it worked. You know, because there's a lot of companies or people that try their own thing and it doesn't stick. Art the Clown sticks. I'm ready to see what he's going to do now with the next movie. Hopefully, it's one that comes out this year. Hopefully, they was working on movies ahead of time because I don't want to wait till 2026. But because I really want to know what happens after the third one. But yeah, I said it. When it comes to Hall of Fame horror icons, Terrifier is up there. Is it better than Jason? Better than Freddy Krueger? That's up to the viewer to decide. Me, Freddy Krueger was always my favorite. I don't know. I will have to think about that. I don't want this video to be too long. But Terrifier is up there. He's in the realm. I don't know if they ever will do it, but it would be cool to have a multiverse, like a universe of Freddy Krueger. Like how Freddy vs. Jason, but it has them, Michael Myers, Terrifier all in one movie, Chucky, but that's just fantasy. Anyway, I'm interested in seeing what his breakdown is on how Art the Clown became a horror icon. I'll put the original video description below. Shout out to him. Like the video now. But yeah, I gotta react to more of his video. I love his horror. I like horror. That's one of my favorite genres in movies. And the way he breaks it down reminds me of Carthu's Dojo when it comes to breaking down Dragon Ball Z, which is also one of my favorites. So I put him up there. Like, he's really good at breaking this down. So let's see what it's about.
Remember the last time a new horror icon came onto the scene? We just came out of a golden age of horror in the mid to late 2010s, which saw the release of some of my new all-time favorite movies, like It Follows, Hereditary, and It. But the antagonist from It Follows is a shapeshifter whose true form we never see. King Payman from Hereditary is a demon whose true form we never see. Pennywise is definitely iconic, but Pennywise has been an icon since at least the
It's been a while,
in the 1990s, and is also technically
that's a good question.
Form we don't see.
Which one do y'all think is a more terrifying, It or Pennywise? To me, I love Bill Skarsgård's version of Pennywise, but the original terrified the mess of me as a kid. Maybe now that's why I say he's the worst one. He's scarier is because now it's tough for me to get scared with horror movies. I now do it for just the enjoyment. It's been a while since I actually been scared of an actual character. So maybe that's why I don't look at Bill Skarsgård as, you know, terrifying like it was back in the day. But I just remember the effect that old one had on me. The first one. Not the second one, really, but the first one. And, yeah, hold up.
Icon since it...
Yeah, shout out to... He did a good job, in my opinion. Now, him and Bill Skarsgård played Pennywise still differently. But still, he was terrifying to me. Bill Skarsgård, though, did a good job.
It miniseries in the 1990s, and is also technically a shapeshifter whose true form we don't see. I think you have to go back to Valak, who first appeared in The Conjuring 2 in 2016.
I wonder, is he going to come back on the last Conjuring movie?
By storm. That is until 2024.
Wait, what? Sorry, I was talking.
Who first appeared in The Conjuring 2 in 2016, if you want to find the last time that a new horror icon really took the public by storm.
Yeah.
That is until 2024.
That's why people watched The Nun 1 and 2.
Slashed its way past the $80 million mark, making it the highest grossing unrated film of all time.
Which shout out to them.
Overnight, a star was born, and his name, sorry Pearl, was Art the Clown. But while many saw Art's journey to relevancy as a magnetic launch ride into the stratosphere, complete with allegations like nepotism baby and industry plant, in reality, it was a long climb into the spotlight, nearly 2 decades in the making. To learn how Art went from
I didn't know it was that long.
YouTube video clown to Hollywood A-lister, stick around to the end of this
video.
Before Terrifier and All Hallows Eve, Art the Clown debuted in a short film called The Ninth Circle, which went into production way back in 2006,
I forgot.
where he spooks this woman at the train station and abducts her into the Ninth Circle of Hell.
Yeah.
On March 15th, 2008, the world would be introduced to Art for the first time.
Dang, it was that long ago. Wow.
I mean, the crowds of people who attended the Backseat Film Festival in Philadelphia, a showcase of edgy indie features and shorts. Art was originally played by Mike Gianelli, a friend of the director, Damien Leone, who had helped him with makeup tests and got the job simply because he was willing to sit in the makeup chair for 3 hours a day. Art the Clown was Gianelli's one and only role, and he would later reprise it for the Terrifier short film, which Leone completed in 2011. Leone couldn't get the short accepted into a single film festival, so instead it was released on YouTube and promoted via email marketing. Leone told Dread Central that he probably never would have gotten it off the ground without the aid of this technology. While it's no longer up, it did end up getting over 120,000 views, not bad for 2011 YouTube standards. But more importantly, it happened to land in front of a producer named Jesse Badgett from Ruthless Pictures. Jesse was able to offer minimal backing and financing for a feature-length anthology film that would package both the Ninth Circle and Terrifier short films as part of a 3-movie set and a wraparound story to tie it all together. The other short, Something in the Dark, only showed Art in a painting at the end, so it felt more like an existing short film with one shot added to make it cohesive with Terrifier and the Ninth Circle. Leone claimed that All Hallows Eve was more of a promo piece. This was just a reason to get Terrifier onto DVD and whip it into a feature, just to get it out there and get more people familiar with Art the Clown and hopefully get a little bit more of a fan base. It's interesting how his goal wasn't to build a Terrifier fan base, but rather to build a fan base for Art himself. Leone didn't really start as a writer or director. He was a makeup special effects artist who grew up idolizing Tom Savini, the makeup effects guy behind Dawn of the Dead and Friday the 13th. Ruthless Pictures was, at the time, a very small production company that had a couple of B-movies to their credit. So this release didn't exactly open the floodgates and unleash Art onto the world. But it did get an announcement and trailer on ShockTillYouDrop.com and a review in the Oklahoma Gazette, claiming it had all the makings of a minor cult hit. Better than nothing, I guess? All Hallows Eve came out straight to DVD in October 2013 and followed a babysitter looking after 2 kids on Halloween night who received a mysterious videotape while trick-or-treating. The more she explores the contents of the tape, the more the line is blurred between the short films and her own reality. There were a couple of notable articles, like Ain't It Cool News, which bashed the story but praised Art himself, calling him an icon that's sure to cause you to sleep with the lights on. I think that's the first time that anyone referred to him as an icon, showing just how early the idea of Art had the potential for greatness. The movie also got a positive review from Fangoria, definitely a big deal at the time. But the big watershed, or I guess bloodshed moment, was the recognition in Dread Central in December, calling him one of the first new icons of fright from the internet age, which also speaks to Art's growing popularity online. This prompted Leone to create a Facebook page for Art the following year.
I started watching Terrifier late.
Buzz around the character
almost near the beginning of Terrifier 3, so I don't know any of this.
Indiegogo campaign, setting his goal
it's crazy how much it's crazy how much effort you have to just keep going and going, because obviously, like, someone like me who joined in this universe late, I'm seeing the success of right now, which is amazing for them. Like, they've been skyrocketing in numbers, but to hear all this, it's like, dang. And then to know almost 2 decades the grind the creator had to do just to get every little attention, every little bit counts, just keep going and going, all the no's and everything. That's why I like these little backstories. When I go into something late, I always love to know how it all started. Because if you ask me, I'm like, well, it was famous for about 8 to 10 years now since Terrifier 1. Obviously not. That just shows I don't know what I'm talking about. So that's why I like watching this stuff, so I can get more knowledge of it. An investor had already fronted 85% of the budget. Because that's impressive, just how much work it's taken just to get him up there. And he's already being called an icon.
Had already been raised, but many sources cite the total budget of the finished film being just $35,000. So either the investor pulled out at some point, or the part about the investor was a lie to make the project seem more legit to donors, which may have been necessary because the promo video is not very enticing. It starts with a series of images including fan art, articles, and web pages, really trying to push the idea that Art has an established fan base.
Hey guys, this is Damien Leone, director of All Hallows Eve and creator of Art the Clown. As you can see, this character has a rapidly growing fan base and the potential to become the next big horror icon.
Which would make sense if you were pitching to a producer, but you're pitching to people that are already fans. It's not until a minute into the video that he delivers his value proposition.
Although Art clearly stole the show in All Hallows Eve, he was only featured in the film for a measly 30-minute segment. Imagine what it'd be like to see him in an entire movie.
He also hints at the advantages of funding the movie this way.
Since we have no studio or ratings board to answer to, I'm gonna show things so horrible and appalling, it'll make your head spin.
The promo video would go on to tease some of the perks to donating, but in the end, this campaign failed miserably, and it looked like Art's story might be over before it really began. Damien Leone promised to work hard to reward the fans willing to share their hard-earned dollars to help fund his movie with a series of benefits. Skipping past the standard name and credits, personal copy, and autograph perks, for $250, fans could get a replica scalpel and severed finger. For $350, you got a handcrafted art figurine. For $500, you could take home a variety of screen-worn costume pieces, or a chance to visit the set and pump some blood, neither of which were ever claimed. For $750, you could appear as an extra in Terrifier, also never claimed, and for $3,500, you could devise your own kill in the movie with the director's approval. These were also never claimed, and it's probably a good thing, because he offered 5 spots for this perk. And adding an extra 5 kills to a movie that's already pretty much just killing would seriously bloat the runtime. The downside to the lack of perks claimed was
I respect the hustle, though. I respect it.
$360 of their $15,000 goal, less than 1/3. But Leone had a vision for this character, and wasn't going to be deterred, as you can see in the original promo video.
With your help, I truly believe we can make a classic horror film and turn Art into a new horror icon.
It's crazy how it is now, how successful it is.
Resonated with one person when it mattered, a wealthy friend named Phil Falcone, who fronted the rest of the bill in order to become a producer. There was one major change that took place around this time. Art had appeared in films a few times at this point, but failed to reach the levels of fame that Leone had envisioned for the character. If he were going to dedicate his year to making a full-length feature film, he was going to need a dedicated actor, and Mike Giannelli was not going to cut it. So Leone put out a casting call and received an audition tape from a man named David Howard Thornton.
I love these backstories, bro. You just see how they do all this. And that's exactly how he acts in the movie.
The difference was that Giannelli was a guy dressed as a clown, but David Howard Thornton actually is a clown.
Yeah.
If you've seen Terrifier,
he acts it off really well
in this audition tape just from the body language alone. So on October 1st, 2015, filming began on the feature-length Terrifier. They would wrap in April of 2016 and debut at the Telluride Horror Show Film Festival that October. Remember, that was the year of the creepy clown craze, 2016, a viral phenomenon of clown sightings across the United States and eventually the world, primarily spanning from August to October of that year.
I didn't know about that.
A whole documentary exposing the untold truths of the craze, which I definitely recommend you add to your queue, but if you haven't seen it,
I'll check that out. I didn't know about that.
I doubted any of the viral clown videos were a paid promotion for Terrifier. Creepy clowns were already in the news, so there was no need to do a promo here for Art. But I do think that there was a lot of buzz around creepy clowns, and that may have helped hype up movie-going crowds for Terrifier.
Maybe.
After a trailer released online, the film also played at Scary Movies X, a horror film festival in New York, and I can't like this post because it has 666 likes, and I don't want to upset the balance. Leone, against conventional wisdom, continued to submit Terrifier to festivals. The following October, it played at Horror Channel Fright Fest in the UK, a sign of Art beginning to get international recognition. Ahead of the screening, Leone also got to speak about how Terrifier is just the beginning. He has a ton of potential, and I can see needing at least a couple films to tell his full story. It's too premature to say, but numerous people have said he has the makings of a horror icon. It wasn't until the next year that it would even start playing theatrically. Dread Central, the horror news website that had given Leone one of his first big interviews, was acquired by a studio named Epic Pictures Group, and they were launching a new distribution label called Dread Central Presents. The idea was to give a theatrical opportunity to horror movies that other studios wouldn't touch because they go too far, and they wanted Terrifier to be the poster child for their new strategy. This was the perfect choice, because Art, at one point, saw as a naked woman in half hot dog style in the movie. Terrifier follows the horrific Halloween night of Tara and Dawn, who are followed by Art the Clown and trapped in an apartment complex where he massacres the unusual inhabitants. It ended up making over $400,000, so a healthy profit no matter which version of the budget is the truth, but still a very small movie overall.
I was about to say, you hear that number, you're like, that's it, 400K, but when you hear this backstory of this brother was hustling just trying to get 15K with all that stuff he was doing earlier we saw in the video, so 400,000, this dude hit a gold mine. And now hearing it, 85 mil with the Terrifier 3, bro, shout out to that dude for not giving up, bro, because all these opportunities, nobody was really claiming those perks, and now to be almost 2 decades later, 85 million, that's yo, that's a story in itself. I know I love Art the Clown and all, but let's talk about the creator story. Because I do agree, Art the Clown is a hard character to sell. If you know the movie, it's hard to sell that in Hollywood eyes. But hey, every success comes, and look, the first one, 400K, and that's a lot.
Leone to be taken seriously.
Yes, it's not Avatar, Marvel kind of money, you know. Oops, sorry, but they be spending 200 mil to make the movie, so they need to make $500 million. That's a whole different world. This here, from the ground up, putting your own projects on YouTube, hopefully it gets some kind of traction. Every little bit counts. That 400,000 was like hitting a gold mine.
That would have been the feel-good ending to most Hollywood stories. Art cannot be killed so easily. Also in 2018, the movie was released on Blu-ray, DVD, Netflix, and iTunes. But
see that 2018 for the first Terrifier movie to be released like this, and we just saw the beginning was 2008. It took 10 years from that first project he made to Terrifier 1. I'm telling you, bro, the persistence, bro, that's some endurance right there to wait for 10 years for your first one to come out on these platforms. Yo, I tip my hat to you. That's some dedication right there. And, you know, he probably spent a lot of money, tried to do the best he can. His own friend helped him to be Art the Clown, which then they changed. But still, shout out to the friend. Hopefully, the creator, you know, with the success he has now, gave a nice amount of money to his friend that was Art the Clown at first. You know, just for him to put his time into helping. But, yo, 10 years just for the first one to come out.
Art was licensed to an apparel company called TERRIFIER, who put out an ugly Christmas sweater with Art's beautiful face on it. Perhaps a sign of things to come. This is an important step that can't be overlooked in his transformation into a slasher superstar. It shows that not only does the character have a killer screen presence, but there's also potential for marketability. This led to the company putting out other Terrifier merchandise. Anyone who's been to any horror event, whether that be screenings, haunts, conventions, or otherwise, knows how big of an industry horror merchandise is. And from my experience, it always seems to be dominated by the big slasher icons. Characters like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, and Chucky. I would go so far as to say that this merchandise is a part of the reason these characters are as big as they are today. And speaking of conventions, they would be a big part of the strategy for making Art a household name going forward. And his first foray into that world would be at Mad Monster Party, Arizona, where fans could snap a photo with Art in July 2018. Many locals were excited to attend, and many others begged to see Art show up for some mayhem in their own cities. Both Leone and actor David Howard Thornton were in attendance, which speaks volumes to their love for the character. It would have been easy to put the Art
dedication,
makeup on a
man.
random
You
stand
gotta
for
love
a
what
photo
you're doing
op, or Leone
to dedicate yourself that long.
Makeup artist to do the Art the Clown makeup so that he wouldn't always have to attend. But clearly, this was something that was important to both of them. The outing would be a success, leading to an appearance at Mad Monster Carolina in 2019, where they also did a panel.
Oh my god, dude. I'm basically gonna be some decent younger generation's Freddy Krueger, hopefully.
But Freddy Krueger reached his current status by appearing in 9 movies. If Art was going to catch up, he had to knock it out of the park with a sequel. According to Google Trends, Terrifier didn't really fire off until August 2018. And just going off of what was said in interviews at the time, it seems like the culprit may have been Netflix, which had a trending shelf that Terrifier was reportedly often at the top of. This created a feedback loop effect. Being on the shelf caused more people to see and talk about the movie, and the
It's crazy, yeah, that's when I first saw, it was there, no. Yeah, that was the first time I ever seen anything Terrifier related was on Netflix. You know, Netflix has so many projects. I always remember seeing this clown look just like that, and I never paid much attention after that. I thought it was just some kind of B-rated movie that, you know, I was like, oh, someone trying to make something. All right, good for them. I'm going to keep moving. I already had my movies I was ready to watch. Bro, did I made a mistake? I made a mistake. I should have watched that a long time ago. 2018. I would have been already up to date. But hey, it is what it is. I'm enjoying it now.
Several months after its brief theatrical run had ended, everyone seemed to be talking about Terrifier again. It was the subject of news segments.
It freaked me out, let me tell you.
Video reviews.
He kills extremely well. This is a very gruesome movie.
And treasure troves of fan art on social media. In August 2019, now almost 3 years removed from the festival premiere of Terrifier, Damien Leone stepped up to the midway for round 2 with Indiegogo. This time, he would ask for $50,000.
Look at that,
citing the desire to return to crowdfunding so that
$215K.
he isn't at the mercy of a studio who doesn't get his vision. And he would use the momentum that Terrifier was getting online as a major part of his pitch video, showing a montage of YouTube reviews, convention appearances, and fan creations to convince people that their donation isn't just helping finance a
He had a
micro-budget horror
$50,000
sequel,
goal.
but
That thing
rather
went up to
helping build the next
215.
face of the genre.
In 5 to 10 years from now, we'll look back at him and he'll probably be on this mantle as a great horror icon.
Actually, it has been 5 years. Let's
Yeah,
see if
he's
ours
an
are
icon,
momentum.
yeah.
This clown has fully gone mainstream, and I really think we are witnessing the birth of a new horror icon, which is what us horror fans always like to say, but I think this time it's actually
It's
happening.
real, yeah.
Yo,
I
there
agree.
he is. Good call, Chris. The Indiegogo video this time is an improvement in the sense that it doesn't look like it was made by a 4th grader making a school project in Windows Movie Maker. I do still think it starts off way too slow. You don't need opening credits for a video where you're e-begging. It doesn't need to be 8 minutes. But at this point, the quality of the video didn't really matter because Terrifier fever had taken over, and they raised $215,000.
Look at that, bro.
More than 4 times.
Where
the
his
initial
first
goal.
time, he couldn't even get to 5,000. He had a $15,000 goal. That thing was at 4,300, I believe. That's crazy, bro.
As for the perks, pretty standard
Persistence.
stuff, but I'll call out
Endurance.
a few that caught my eye. The $1,800 perk is called King for a Day. Pierce the Veil reference? Based?
Visit the set for a day. You can hang out with the cast and crew. You can get autographs, take pictures, have lunch. We'll let you slate the scenes.
I just find that so funny. You're gonna pay nearly $2,000 and in return, they essentially put you to work for a day. Maybe that's why it's called King for a Day.
You are all coming in tomorrow to help make the books look right.
I'm kidding, of course. I'm sure a fan who's never been on a production
It would have
be
been
very
cool
excited.
regardless. Yeah, it would
What's
have
more
been cool.
interesting
You're
is what can
supporting
happen
what
if
you
the
love,
campaign surpasses
and you get to be on set.
There's a scene in this film that is so much bigger than anything I've ever written before that would just bring this movie to another level. If we're lucky, it would become an iconic scene in horror history.
Did someone say horror history?
Without giving away anything, I like to say it would be the equivalent of the prom scene in Carrie, but Art the Clown style.
He goes on to explain it would require a new set to be built, lots of special effects, stunts, extras, and makeup effects. This is where another one of the perks comes in. For $5,000, you can get killed on screen in a perk that he calls Be My Victim. Candyman reference? Also
That's
based?
clever. Hey, that's clever. You could be in the movie.
Unlike the benefits from the first campaign, this one totally sold out. And I'm pretty sure the scene he's
I bet it
referencing
did
in
get
the
sold
second
out.
Terrifier is the Clown Cafe.
Yep.
The
Oh,
dream
bro,
sequence where Art
that's a
appears in
cool
this happy
perk.
food truck commercial thing, massacres the place, and burns it down with a flamethrower. Very much like how Carrie's prom
That's
scene
a cool
ended.
perk, bro. You get to
Which
be in the
also
movie that
explains
you
why
are
that
supporting.
scene, while impressive, feels so disconnected from the rest of the movie. Leone didn't know if they would have the budget for it, so he had to write it in a way that it could quickly be removed from the script without affecting the rest of the story. Which is interesting, because his whole reason for crowdfunding was for creative control, yet he's still at the whims of these other variables. Another stretch goal was casting a big name in the horror genre.
If we're able to raise more money than we intended, we have our eyes set on casting what I think is probably one of the biggest horror genre icons of at least our time, if not all time, and one of the main roles in the film.
I don't know what this was supposed to be, but what
Right.
we ended up getting was Felissa Rose, the actress known for her role in Sleepaway Camp, playing a school teacher who gets one of the main characters in trouble in a 30-second scene.
What are you boys doing back here? Oh, Christ.
Felissa Rose is not exactly a huge get. She'll basically do anything, to the point that Fangoria's Chainsaw Awards has started a new category this year for Best Felissa Rose Movie, an award that she
Dang, I
handed to
mean,
herself
it's
because
sound like
she'll do
roasted her.
anything. This is probably
get
not
work.
where that
I
stretch
mean, hey.
money went, because by the sound of it, Rose essentially begs to be in the movie.
I met Damien Leone for the first time and David Howard Thornton at New Jersey HorrorCon, and again, still am a huge Terrifier fan. I think I chased him around the whole convention like, oh my God, I love you, oh my God. And I think he truly felt like I kind of have to like give this woman a part.
So no surprises there. But there would be one surprise collaborator that would bring Art the Clown in touch with his internet sensation roots. While exploring the Terrifier 2 Indiegogo campaign, I noticed that while the campaign was created by Damien, all of the updates were posted by Jason Levy from Fuzz on the Lens Productions. This immediately sounded familiar to me, because I've talked about this company before. In my 2016 Clown Craze video, I talked about a creepy clown incident that set the stage 2 years before that. The infamous Staten Island clown from 2014, which was eventually revealed to be a publicity stunt for the production company.
And we treated the Staten Island Clown project as a film in its own. People will do all the talking and we don't have to do any of the promoting.
Regardless of how calculated it really was, the Staten Island Clown went viral in 2014, and they used that to promote their company, which made them an obvious choice to partner partner with Leone, who is from Staten Island, when producing Terrifier 2. Terrifier 2 would be created by the minds behind two of the biggest viral marketing success stories involving a creepy clown in recent memory. The following year, in 2019, Leone and co. went harder than ever to try to ensure that everyone who could know Art would know Art. Terrifier was released as a novelty VHS tape. Art appeared at New Jersey Horror Con.
I don't want you to touch me.
Oh no. Show your face.
One, two, and three. 1, 2, and 3. I'm gonna let you stay in there as long as possible.
And at Pop Rock and Horror Convention in Pennsylvania, fans even had the opportunity to recreate the plastic wrap scene from Terrifier 1.
There you go, that's it. 1, 2, 3.
There were plenty of other conventions, and David Howard Thornton stayed in character for all of them, minus the killing, as far as I know. He saved that for when the cameras were rolling,
Right.
and Terrifier 2 began filming in October 2019.
Hey, shout out to him. These
However,
guys,
like many of
because
our
not only are they hustling for the project to work out, but they really care about their fan base. You could tell, even the actor, all he honestly has to do is just act as Art the Clown and his cut. He can go home. No, he goes to all the conventions. He stays in character. That's someone who first believes in the project and two appreciates the fan. This is true appreciation from him and the creator. So that's one thing I hope people notice is that this is how, like, hopefully other studios see this too. This is how you show appreciation. You know, when you asking for money, to see them ask for money, they're not just doing that thank you and walk away. No, they're showing appreciation to everybody. He's staying in character at a convention. He doesn't have to do that. So yeah, even if they didn't ask for money, this is still how you show appreciation to the fan base. One of the ways you can show them.
human victims, the shoot would be cut short. As we all know, 2020
Oh, wait, what happened?
was COVID. Were rolling, and Terrifier 2 began filming in October 2019. However, like many of Art's human victims, the shoot would be cut short.
Oh, because
as
of
we all know, 2020 was COVID, so all the momentum behind Terrifier 2 and the Art character was brought to a screeching halt, and this clown disappeared for the time being, as seemingly most of the world's turned into clowns. However, 75% of filming was completed before COVID, allowing Leone to finish things out with a bare-bones crew in 2021, finally wrapping with just a 3-man team in July of that year. This should come as no surprise. If the constant festival rejections on the Terrifier short film and failed crowdfunding campaign on Terrifier 1 didn't stop him, a 20-month break wasn't going to break his spirit for a sequel that people actually cared about. But each time, he had to overcome something, and little did he know, Art's notoriety had only grown during the pandemic. At 2021's New Jersey Horror Con, Art had celebrity status, and the line for the Terrifier booth stretched all the way through the convention hall.
Hey, this is David Howard Thornton. You might know me as Art the Clown, and oh my god, let's get out of here!
Not sure what that was about, but Texas Frightmare was an
That's
even
cool.
bigger turnout. In this hilarious interview with M Live, where Damien is doing all the talking and Art is miming reactions to every little thing, Leone suggests that there are 5 or 6 of these convention photo ops every year, which the interviewer seems to think is a lot.
There you go. One of the rare interview with Art the Clown, and I'm still alive, so that's good. I mean, I may not be, so just keep the camera rolling just in case something happens.
So this suggests that Art has gotten
I would
pretty
love to
popular
interview him
at
like
public
that.
events,
That would be
but
cool.
our story isn't over. It's important to remember that these are horror spaces. In order to become a true horror icon, everyone has to know your name and face, if you have one. Art wasn't anywhere close to accomplishing that yet. Like, you could try to dress up as Kratos at a video game convention.
Dang, that dude is
everyone would
jacked
instantly
for Kratos.
recognize you, but try bringing that into public and you're gonna get some weird looks. But it'll still be funny, and I highly recommend dressing up as characters for everyday tasks. But in another sign that the Terrifier IP was hot, the distribution rights, which belonged to Dread Central for the first movie, were scooped up by their rival, Bloody Disgusting, another prominent horror news site. Bloody Disgusting planned on releasing it in theaters and partnered with the streaming service Screambox for digital distribution. If you're new to the horror fandom, Dread Central and Bloody Disgusting had never been prominent distributors in the industry before this. Big movies are usually distributed by one of the big 5, Disney, Warner, Universal, Sony, or Paramount. Under that, you have the mini-majors, Lionsgate, Amazon, A24, and STX. The fact that the bidding to distribute Terrifier 2 seems to be a war between these 2 horror news websites, both of whom had a pretty limited catalog, speaks exactly to where the series stood before Terrifier 2. It's like I was just talking about. Art was big in horror circles, but hadn't quite cracked the
That was
mainstream.
it, yeah.
But you could tell that momentum was bubbling up. In 2021 and 2022, official graphic novels were released on the new TerrifierShop.com,
Oh, wow.
an official merch website which is described as merchandise straight from the creators.
I get
of
one
the
of
movies.
those.
So presumably buying this stuff would support them directly. But even with
I had
all
no
of
idea
this,
that was
there was
there.
still a big test ahead. None of Art's movies had performed super well in theaters to this point. Each time he got bailed out by streaming and internet fanfare after the theatrical run. Could art finally capture the attention of audiences on the big screen? Or was this something better left to the icons in Derry, Springwood, or Haddonfield?
That second
Miles
one
County was about to have its
That second one was really good. I had to decide which one was better, that one or the third one. But I would say the third one because that's my first movie introduction. The way they did it was very good with Santa Claus and all that.
Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas on September 22nd.
But that second one is not far behind.
Fantastic Fest is the largest genre film festival in the US. So for horror, sci-fi, fantasy, and action movies, playing here is a really big deal. David Howard Thornton offered a little more insight about his audition process in the Q&A.
From somewhere deep in my dark recesses, I came up with this whole scene on the spot where I like cartoonishly snuck up behind my victim, knocked him out, took out a hacksaw, sawed off his head, pick up the head, taste the blood. I didn't like the taste of the blood, so I take out a salt shaker and start seasoning it.
A couple weeks later, Terrifier 2 came out in theaters and made over $15 million
there you go,
which was 37 times better than the
oh
first
my
movie.
Goodness, look at
It
that.
caught the attention of Stephen King, the man who brought us Pennywise. The
Oh,
merch offerings were
wow,
once again
I didn't know
leveled
that.
up. There were art figurines, masks, busts, mugs, fresh
Dang,
clothing
from
items for the
40
second movie,
from
and who
400K
could forget
to
those little flower
15
sunglasses
million.
that art wears in the Halloween store scene.
That's
Speaking of which,
crazy.
the shop where it was filmed in New York was flooded with questions about the movie, cosplayers went wild, the first Terrifier went back into theaters, and art even cameoed on another show, Pete Davidson's semi-autobiographical comedy series, Bupkis.
Oh, I didn't see that.
The plot of the show has Davidson moving back home to Staten Island, which could explain why Art the Clown and Eli Manning were chosen for these hallucinations. I don't know, I haven't seen
And
it.
Jadakiss,
And this
he's
was
from
also
New York.
just a few weeks before the announcement.
I don't think he knows who Jadakiss is, but yeah, he's from New York too.
We all knew it was coming, but in October 2023, many fans were surprised to learn that this would be a Christmas movie. It was initially planned to come out on October 25th, 2024, I guess kind of a Christmas in October situation, but was ultimately moved up to capture more of the Halloween season. I also personally experienced the fervor behind Art when I released my Art the Clown horror history.
That's the one I watched. That was the
off
first introduction to me knowing what Art the Clown is. So yeah, I was right. It was his video. So shout out to him, man. He broke it down very nicely. So I went into Terrifier 3 knowing what I was looking at.
Such a fast start. In
Knowing
the
what
first
was
week,
going
it had
on.
over 500,000 views and 172,000 hours of watch time, more than 3 times the average video. Filming got underway in February 2024, but this time with a substantially higher budget of $2 million.
There you
Don't
go.
lose sight of the fact that this is still a very low budget. For comparison,
Still
Smile
way
2, which
better
came
than
out
what
the same
you,
year,
had.
a budget of $28 million. They wrapped in April 2024, and instead of resting on their laurels, Art was immediately sent out on the biggest press tour to date. Art had graduated to all of the biggest horror conventions, not just horror cons like Monsterpalooza or Spooky Empire, but also the big pop culture events like GalaxyCon and the Big Kahuna, Comic-Con. And on top of that, even if the Terrifier creators didn't make it to a convention, you could pretty much bet on there being at least one, if not multiple cosplayers going as Art the Clown
Easily.
if you really wanted that photo op. One thing that I appreciate is that Art, that is, the real Art, always stays in character while in costume. Because oftentimes seeing horror villains in a well-lit, non-scary environment can kind of take away some of the magic and make the character seem less intimidating. The convenient thing about Art is that he's kind of a traditional funny circus clown, but what makes him scary is that you never know when he's gonna do something erratic. So he can do goofy stuff at these events, but I still found lots of videos of him randomly scaring the crap out of people, which of course I love to see.
That's smart.
Arts related
That's how you
content
do
has
it.
also been
Engage
popping
with the
off on
fans.
TikTok, as pretty much everything that's popular does these days. And in an effort to further stoke those social media flames, they got creative.
And you know,
with
you
their
think
very
about that guy who's playing Art the Clown. We don't know his whole story of how much he's been trying to maybe make it. Because I heard before Terrifier, he was already a mime, like that was like his job or something like that. So we don't know his story though, how much effort he took to finally make it. And Art the Clown was his big break. So we always talking about the creator, but the guy who playing Art the Clown, he probably has a heck of a story. He's probably been 20-something years and it did like small-time jobs to keep the lights on. Now, this is his big break. So, of course, he's going to go all in. Of course, to appreciate the fans, but also for him to be like, look, this is my moment. I'm going to actually give it my all the same way the creator is. I would love to know his backstory.
Marketing budgets. On September 3rd, this video was posted. Art is ready to take your calls. He's dying to hear from you. Obviously, Art doesn't talk, but if you called the number 722-TERRIFY, you would get this.
All right, let's give him a call, put it on speaker. All right.
Then, if your phone number is connected to a
figured
Venmo
it
account,
that.
he would Venmo you 1 cent, which is funny and unexpected. It gets people talking, and it feels on brand for Art to
I
send
feel
such
like he
a
was just, that's all it's going to be.
And he uses a cell phone in the movies, so it works pretty nicely. I think they were expecting more people to post about their experience, but the posts that did go up did get a lot of attention. I guess you don't really need to call the hotline yourself and probably have your data sold when you can see exactly what happens in a TikTok. Unless you're really hurting for money and you need that 1 cent. It honestly works better for the marketing team that way, because if 1 million people watch the video instead of calling themselves, they just save $10,000. Not all of the marketing efforts had to be super low budget this time around though. On September 10th, PlayStation put out a trailer for the new season of Call of Duty. Which
Oh, yeah.
Everyone fall back.
I forgot about that. And you know they got a nice check from that.
The trailer also
that Call of Duty money's different. that money's different, bro.
Art is in pretty good company here. All 3 of these characters
they
are
got a nice
known to
check
appear in
off of that
Hollywood
one.
and the respective franchises. I'm not gonna pretend to be a Call of Duty fan, but from what I understand, you buy the Terrifier bundle and you get the Art the Clown skin, some custom guns, smaller virtual accessories, and an Art the Clown loading screen background. There was also this fun video where they invited people to come playtest the new pack, and Art literally busts through the wall and comes after them.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that Call of Duty money's different. I know they made a nice chunk of change there.
Marketing stunts that would follow.
That's cool.
The last big promo piece in September 2024 was another one that would cement Art's status as an icon by putting him in a territory where only horror icons can be found. And that is on the silver screen. Ice Nine Kills is a metalcore band that I've been following ever since I first heard In the Throes of a Moral Quandary about 15 years ago. But in 2015, they really catered to my interests when they released Every Trick in the Book, a concept album where each song was written about a different novel, primarily horror novels. They followed this up with 2 albums where they did the same, but with horror movies, The Silver Scream and The Silver Scream 2, Welcome to Horrorwood. The band has been intertwined with the horror fandom ever since, starting their own hybrid horror/metal convention called the Silver Scream Con in 2022. After making songs and music videos paying homage to the likes of It, American Psycho, and Chucky, fans were excited to see what property the band would offer.
There's so many different cons in this world.
Silver Scream Con,
Comic-Con, SilverCon, DreamCon, HorrorCon.
Is that Ryan Bergman?
Did you forget to tell him about the early Christmas present this year?
I'm sorry, what would that be?
Oh, you know those revelations.
We asked you guys a question earlier. What movie would you like us to cover? Can you guys say that on 3? 1, 2, 3.
The band announced that they would be doing an official song and video for Terrifier 3, and the fans went nuts. Look at this lady's reaction. She looks like her mom just came back to life. The song would be scheduled to release alongside the movie on October 11th, but before you can do a wide release, you've got to make a splash with your premiere. And Leone would once again take his film to Fantastic Fest, where the movie got some big reactions from fans.
It expands upon what worked in the previous film.
So sadistic and so terrifying.
You don't know whether to laugh or puke up your popcorn.
But for Terrifier's marketing team, that wasn't enough. At least according to Reddit user Sorry I'm Sorry, who says a marketing agency sent out invites to a special preview screening of an unrated Christmas flick. People were expecting a big budget Christmas movie, but when they arrived, there were no opening titles and Terrifier 3 just started playing, resulting in massive walkouts, which were recorded and put in this teaser.
It was depraved. So many people walked out. We're here for it.
After that, there were all these articles advertising how Terrifier 3 was so disturbing it was causing walkouts and vomiting.
A lot of people have been talking about fainting in this film.
There are stories of people fainting from watching this, feeling nauseous and walking out.
That's the thing. I didn't feel either that none of that stuff when I saw it, and that was my first Terrifier movie.
It happened last year with Saw X.
Yeah, everybody has different tolerances.
Terrifier 2. It's just a marketing thing. They want you to be curious about what evoked such strong reactions from
Yeah.
people. The Redditor who posted his experience at the preview screening also didn't provide any details about which screening he was at or any proof that he was at a Terrifier 3 screening. It's suspiciously vague. However, it looks like it might be real because the account has been actively used since 2017. But there's still a chance that the whole thing is fake. So the only reason I bring it up is because the Karen Brigade came out under this post, saying things like this screening was unethical, which served as more outrage marketing, getting even more attention on the film. Like, no horror fan is gonna be deterred by Redditors getting mad over a movie. I also think unethical is a ridiculous claim. People voluntarily went to an unrated movie, they had the option to leave, and some of them did leave, which seems like exactly what the marketing team wanted. Even without the opening credits, you could see Art the Clown in the movie, and if you're not a fan of horror, you would exit at that point. It's not like people were chained down and forced to watch. Regarding the nausea and fainting rumors, yeah, I'm sure it happens occasionally, but not as much as the ads would have you believe. However, another YouTuber, Spooky Astronauts, who usually has the same skepticism that I do when it comes to this type of marketing, had a hell of a story in her video.
After me going to the movies, 4 years, seeing the goriest things I can see. Why did 2 people faint right in front of me during that film? Both trying to run down the stairs to get out of the cinema. I had to go and get help, and it was a whole kerfuffle.
Personally, when I saw the movie, there was nothing like that happened.
Yeah, I'm like, what scene was that you're fainting like that?
There was also an early screening in Chicago.
I mean, it was
where
some
the official
graphic
Terrifier
stuff, but-
TikTok account posted someone being loaded into
Oh
an
my
ambulance.
goodness.
I'd like to believe that this person was scared out of his consciousness, but I mean, it's Chicago. When is someone not being loaded into an ambulance? That being said, I'm from Chicago. I've been to the Music Box Theater where this screening took place, and it does look like it was actually filmed right outside. Look at these trash cans and these street signs and compare that with the Google Street View. I think this one's real. There's also a later teaser which shows the ambulance, and yeah, it definitely is in front of the theater. So the only question is, did he faint because of the movie or because he's on drugs? But before the movie officially hit theaters, Art would hit the
low
pavement
blood
for
sugar.
his next PR stunt. On October 4th, 2024, Terrifier social media accounts posted this map, asking people to tag them if they have a close encounter with Art. It showcased 6 locations where Art would be appearing in New York City, and the Times Square location was complemented with billboards advertising the new movie. Which was really just the marketing team taking something that had worked before and doing it again. Fuzz on the Lens Productions already did this a decade ago with the Staten Island Clown, and it went viral, so why not run it back? I wouldn't say it went viral this time, but it was probably worth the effort. How expensive could it be to hire 6 scare actors, rent a few billboards, and let people with camera phones do the rest? I also think this particular campaign was actually less like what they did with the Staten Island Clown and more like another viral horror clown, Gags the Clown from Green Bay, Wisconsin, which originated the idea by posting the locations to a Facebook group and letting the general public do the heavy lifting by posting personal encounters with the clown online. I talk all about it in my 2016 Clown Craze video, and yes, I know I brought that up like 3 times now, so I'll stop shilling it. But those involved with Terrifier would not stop shilling for the movie, which was just about to make its big debut. October 11th was the day of Terrifier 3's wide theatrical release, and it coincided with several videos that all had one goal: to make Art the Clown go as viral as possible. Bloody Disgusting put out a clip of Art walking into Spirit Halloween and basically scaring the crap out of some holiday shoppers. Which worked perfectly, because Art was essentially camouflaged.
I saw this.
Spirit Halloween in 2024 was already filled to the brim with Terrifier and Art the Clown merchandise, including animatronics, costumes, replica props, and more. A similar video went up with Art invading Spencer's Gifts, the parent company of Spirit Halloween. The 2 videos combined for over 2 million views, but the biggest drop of that day would be truly a work of art, because that's the title of Ice Nine Kills' song centered around Terrifier 3. The video is full of surprises, delights, and Easter eggs. As fans have come to expect with modern Ice Nine Kills videos, it's filled with cameos. It stars Catherine Corcoran, the girl who got sawed in half in the first Terrifier, and Jose Magnin, the longtime radio DJ on Sirius XM's Metal Channel. He's taking her to an Ice Nine Kills show, which she doesn't want to go to because she's pregnant. But that ends up being the least of their worries when Art shows up and teaches everyone there about the art of dying. Other than the baby, which she's forced to deliver in the middle of the pit with Art as her enthusiastic obstetrician.
Hey,
the breakdown
what the
is so
heck?
brutal. There's a literal wall of death. There's a bass solo performed by Shavo Odagian, the bassist of my favorite band of all time, System of a Down, who, by the way, has one of the greatest goatees of all time. There's an erratic piano section, which I assume is played by Joe Acciuti, Ice Nine Kills bassist, who is also the former keyboardist for another one of my favorite bands of all time, the Venetia Fair, where he had this memorable moment. On a song called The Ringleader off their album, The Circus. The Art the Clown video references the circus. How perfect is that? It feels like this music video has something I could talk about every few seconds, but I'll save it for my eventual Ice Nine Kills video. And let's not forget the reason that all of these videos were released on the same day was to celebrate the release of Terrifier 3. They continue to lean on the idea that Terrifier 3 would be too intense for many people by setting out content warning signs in front of theaters. I did not see a sign when I went to go see Terrifier 3,
No,
though,
me
so
neither.
maybe it was only at certain theater chains. And it wouldn't be Terrifier if there wasn't one more controversy, though it wasn't much of a controversy. Just some religious people that protested outside of a movie theater in Kansas City, claiming that it promotes a satanic Santa.
Oh,
Bloody Disgusting
come
was not
on.
backing down though, posting an article about it and claiming that it was a badge of honor. They also repurposed their Art the Clown hotline to be a complaints line for people who were offended, though nothing special happens if you leave a complaint. I think it's more so something that they want to exist, so when journalists are writing articles about the movie, they can include, this movie was so offensive that it has its
I'm
own
a
complaints
Christian,
hotline,
right?
and
I
people
don't
will
see
eat that.
nothing
They're trying to make
say-
art
you
an
know,
internet pariah like Andrew
to
Tate or
complain
Roddy
about this
Mack,
movie.
and
It is
seems
not to be
worth
taken
it. I'm sure
seriously.
the $35 Art the
But
Clown
I mean, I'm not
costume
gonna tell you
was
what
flying
to
off the
do
shelves.
with your life.
And
I
like
just,
those internet pariahs,
as
I
a
think
person
an
who's a
important
Christian
aspect,
himself, I
something
don't-
a little more
I ain't see
intangible that
anything
has helped
wrong.
art grow and will continue
It was
to,
not a
is the
mockery.
potential for iconic images. Art's memeability, if you will. Given that he's literally a mime and can only communicate through super exaggerated facial expressions, and in our internet culture, we often communicate with still images that exaggerate a certain idea, Art is actually an ideal meme template. A meme mime. And even the official Terrifier accounts have leaned into this. As of writing, Terrifier 3 has pulled in more than $80 million at the worldwide box office, and it's not even done. It's currently the top performing unrated movie of all time at the box office. The movie's success was so widespread and mainstream that Art was invited to ring the NASDAQ closing bell on the New York Stock Exchange on Halloween. This is by far the weirdest thing that Art has attended. In fact, David Howard Thornton didn't even go to this, and why would he want to waste his Halloween? But it's pretty funny because it's clearly not him.
I'm about to
This
say,
actor is
that's an
trying to act
interesting
like
mask.
him, but he doesn't really know what to do. Now, Terrifier
Oh,
4
the actress
is
is
already
there.
underway, and I'm sure Art's fame will continue to grow. But I think this story ends right here. I set out to make a video documenting Art's rise to the status of horror icon, and at this point, I can confidently say that Art has reached the destiny that Leone envisioned for him all of those years ago. Art's real-world persona has taken on a life of its own through Leone's refusal to give up. From self-funded
Yeah,
short
that's a
films to
persistence,
independently
man.
funded hits, and Thornton's steadfast commitment to the character made it what it is today. So next time someone tries to tell you that Art is an industry plant, you now know that it's actually very much the opposite. Of
yeah,
And you can show them this
industry
video.
plants don't
This
take
was a
almost
little bit
20
different
years
for
to
me.
finally
It
be
kinda turned
successful.
into a retrospective of the Terrifier franchise in a way. Are there any other franchises that you'd like to see me cover like this? And who do you think the next horror icon will be? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to see my analysis of Art in the fic.
That was good. That was really good. I'll put the original video in the description below. But yeah, the way he broke that down, bro. It was a long video, but it was good. He broke everything down the way it needs to. And the only thing I'm hoping for is that we don't get Art 2026. Hopefully it's something this year. With that $85 million budget, I am excited to see where they go with it. Honestly, after we get the conclusion of everything that happens with the story of what's going on now with Terrifier, I am down to see some like Freddy vs. Jason kind of thing with Art the Clown versus somebody. Who would you think would be good? Art the Clown versus Michael Myers? Art the Clown versus Chucky? That would be funny. Here, the Chucky who doesn't stop talking runs his mouth against Art the Clown who doesn't talk. But I don't know. Interesting. Like, you think Art the Clown has this kind of spirit thing, like a demon in him, so that he could face Freddy Krueger again. Freddy Krueger come back in the scene. I'm down for that because we need to get another Nightmare on Elm Street. I ain't gonna front. I miss those. But Yeah, I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. But anyway, shout out to him. The way he broke that down was beautiful. And yeah, I'm a fan of this franchise. I'm a fan. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll check you later.